Trust the Profits, it's the formula here, and we're continuing the Derby Spotlight saga with Owen Almighty. That's right, we're trying to get through as many of these as possible before the Derby this coming Saturday, and we're starting to wrap up the final 10. This is, I think, the 10th one here, so we've got another 10 to do after this, possibly an 11th one. Who knows what's going to happen between now and Saturday afternoon. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Owen Almighty here. What can we say about Owen Almighty? Trainer Brian Lynch, jockey Javier Castellano, Sire Speightstown, 3 wins in 7 races. Really almost a fourth one there because there was a questionable DQ. Maybe not questionable, but he was definitely looking to go gate to wire in one of his races and got DQ'd all the way down to fifth. 2 second-place finishes. His biggest win being the Tampa Bay Derby, which we're going to show you in just a bit. And his style here is most definitely pace setter. A couple times he has been a bit of a stalker, getting in your ear, being really close to the pace. But you can tell by the way he runs, he's got designs on being pace setter. So pros and cons of your Owen Almighty. 4 wins in 7 races if you don't count the DQ in the Pasco Stakes. Outstanding race times at the Sam F. Davis and Tampa Bay Derby. Yeah, I was getting super excited about those race times, to be honest with you. I think I even have a slide on it here in a second. And I know a lot of people do poke holes in the Tampa Bay Derby and just really the whole Tampa Bay Downs prep season, those 2 races. But the times they had in those races were actually quite exceptional. I'm surprised that it didn't translate to something better when going on to other tracks. But that's the way it's played out, at least so far in the couple races that John Hancock and Owen Almighty ran post Tampa Bay Derby and post Sam F. Davis. And has done well sitting off the pace. There's been a couple times he's been off the pace. I wouldn't say it's been horrible. Just trying to build a small pro here, saying that there have been times he's been off the pace and at least finished in the money before. Horse more often than not, yes, is in the pace or challenging the pace. That to me is a con because as I've shown on a couple of these, and maybe we even got a slide on it here, pace setters do not often fare well in the Derby unless you've got a real powerhouse horse here. You've got a real horse that's been tested at 9 furlongs, gate to wire. And as we'll show you in the Bluegrass, that is definitely not what Owen Almighty has been about so far. He's done well at 8 furlongs, 8.5 furlongs at Tampa Bay Downs. But in the test that he had to get up to 9 furlongs, it didn't pan out very well. So stretching out to 9 furlongs in the Bluegrass, Owen Almighty looked tired. Yeah. Towards the end of it there, and you'll see he and East Avenue got into a bit of a battle. And that is the type of battle that will happen at the Kentucky Derby. So if he does not rein it in and handle it better than he did against East Avenue, the Citizen Bulls out there, the journalism's out there, all these other horses are really gonna eat him up, and he's gonna come in dead last or somewhere thereabouts. He draws into the 20th position. Again, that doesn't stack up well against him either. He's got the furthest of any horse to run. You have to imagine trainers looking at this. If he's not going to scratch, he's looking at this thinking, just got to go and get out there, start collapsing in on that rail. And he's going to have to spend a lot of energy in those first 2 furlongs to get himself in position and moved over so that he doesn't fall into unfamiliar territory of being a deep closer, which is not his game. And yeah, trainer at least wanted him to run in Pat Day Mile. I think that's what he was gearing him up towards based on quotes that we've read. And from what we've heard, there's been some contention between the connections and the trainer. Connections definitely want him in the Derby. He's earned the points. Obviously, I think he's like 10th in points based on what he's done at the Sam F. Davis and based on Tampa Bay Derby. But it seemed like the trainer wanted him to go a shorter path. Got quotes on this at some point. Maybe it's the next slide. Maybe not. But yeah, so past performance, you can definitely see here in terms of gate to wire, right? We looked at the second one here, Tampa Bay, 1-1-1-1-1 all the way across. Sam F. Davis, he was right behind John Hancock most of the time, so you can see behind by a head, boom, 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 all the way across. And then the Pasco Stakes, this is the one where he got DQ'd, but he was really going gate to wire, ahead by a head there, but he bounced into, I can't remember who it was, Video Replay or one of these horses like that, and got knocked down to 5th. So it shows he was 1 there. See a couple other ones like the Iroquois. This is where I was saying he actually looks okay as a bit of a stalker. You can see in the Iroquois, he's in 4th place, but he's really 1 1/4 to 2 lengths off of the pace setter there, Jonathan's Way. And by the end of it, he's less than 3 lengths off of the winner, Jonathan's Way, in that one. So I think he held on pretty good there, rallying to get a piece, and that was pretty early in his career. We're talking September of last year if we're going back that far. But yeah, and you can see also from the Bluegrass, this is a horse that, he was 2 lengths off, 3 lengths off, but he was trying to get up there if you watch the video, and we'll see that in a second here. Actually, let's jump into some video right now. Let me bounce out of this, bounce out of the screen share, pop up some video, add that to stage. Let's watch the Tampa Bay Downs first. This is your ideal situation. Watch the one horse here. The one horse is Owen Almighty. He gets out ahead of everyone else, bolts up to the front there, takes the rail, and gets a little bit of challenge here from the 4 and the 7. Still sitting nicely on that rail, has a good turn of foot there and hugs the rail nicely. The 4 is definitely garnering for position there, but falling a length behind. Let me see if I can remember who that 4 is there. The 4 would be Brodeur. Yeah. Brodeur, Patch Adams is in this. Patch Adams is the 7 who was early on him. And then you're going to want to watch Chancellor McPatrick, the 2 there, who's right behind him. But he's setting the pace there. He's getting a little bit of pressure. Nothing too big to worry about. 23.84, fairly slow early on for being a pace setter, but very comfortable, right? This is what you want for the pace setter. Get out front and not spend too much. He's getting pressure there from Brodeur. Brodeur is getting in his ear a little bit, and they drop a 48.16 time. Again, pretty slow in terms of the early clocks. He's going to set a good overall time. I feel like the way that Owen Almighty runs is similar to the way that Rodriguez runs, where, yeah, he wants to be the pace setter, but he doesn't want to set a blistering pace early on, right? Don't we all? But then he gets stronger as the race goes on. So we see he dropped a 1:12.54, not super fast, but you see he's got a nice strong close here, right? He's got something left over here after not setting a real torrid pace, and he just takes off. Chancellor McPatrick's going to stay on there, but Owen Almighty looking strong down the pace here, down the down, down the stretch here, beating Chancellor McPatrick. Hill Road came in second. Let's remove that for a sec here. Stop the screen share, and let me start up another one. So that's ideal. But again, that's not going to be the pace you're going to get at the Derby, which is going to be a little concerning for anyone who's backing him. So now let's take a look here at a totally different situation. Let's rewind this a little bit. You're going to want to watch the 4 horse here. So the 4 horse, oh, they're doing all whites. Boo. So the 4 horse getting out early. Ooh, but there's a challenger. Look at that. The 5 horse coming up is your challenger early on. And that is, anyone want to take a guess? You already know who it is. That's East Avenue. Yeah, East Avenue getting out there early on and setting the torrid pace. Owen Almighty wants to be up there. He's staying off, though. Smart. He's staying off, but he's getting drawn into it a little bit, I feel. East Avenue getting out there in front early on. He's got like a 2-length lead, 3-length lead over Owen Almighty. Owen Almighty settling into it. It looks smart. 22.95. Now you're talking Derby times. East Avenue wanting to make a statement, thinking that this is a mile, maybe getting information in now that he's got another furlong to go past that mile he thought it was. Now you see East Avenue creeping up a little bit, and we're dropping a 46.95. That is blistering. That is pretty hot for 9 furlongs, and East Avenue is actually looking to advance. Sorry, Owen Almighty looking to advance on East Avenue, pulling it into about a length right here, but then the pack is a little bit more well rested behind him. Owen Almighty thinks he's got it right here. And even I thought Owen Almighty might have it right here. Now they come up with a 111.96. Compare that to what we just saw, the 112.90 something in the Tampa Bay Derby. So Owen Almighty giving them fight, but then here come the closers, a whole rabble of them out there. And who's going to win this? It's going to be the 3-horse Burnham Square coming out over the top here. East Avenue does what he can to hold on though, and Owen Almighty, I think he only finished what, like, he didn't finish very far off. As you can see, the pack is still pretty close together there. Owen Almighty's still 4 lengths off, so it's not horrible, but it's not ideal either. It's not what you're hoping to see from your pace setting Derby horse. So I'll stop that. Bounce back into this. We took a look at past performances, funds. Yeah. Quotes, he did everything he was supposed to do, said Brian Lynch on April 10th. He got up with the leader, East Avenue, at the top of the stretch, but he just didn't want to go that far. What does that tell you? Doesn't want to stretch out for the Derby. On March 5th, he's probably got some distance limitations, says Lynch, referring to the Kentucky Derby's mile and a quarter. There's some very good stakes races for 3-year-olds over the summer at those distances. So talk about the contention between the connections that want to send him to the Derby and what the trainer himself is actually saying to the press. This sounds very much like he would much rather do Pat Day Mile or any other stretch that is more suited to the way that Owen Almighty runs. Sets a pace, moderate, but then has something down the stretch to really stretch it out, like we saw in the Tampa Bay Derby. And again, Tampa Bay Derby is 8.5 furlongs. That's a fairly good distance. In terms of finish times, so this is where I got excited about Owen Almighty and John Hancock. As you can see, we've got the finish times for 8.5 furlongs sorted here, and Owen Almighty stacks up fairly nicely. He was just right behind John Hancock in the Sam F. Davis and set a very similar time in the Tampa Bay Derby. When you compare them to the track records, it's actually very close to the track record. You can't say that, oh, Tampa Bay Derby just runs real fast. Maybe on that day you can make the argument, but overall, with 2 separate days we're talking about here, he's dropping 142s, 142.30 for 8.5 furlong. That to me is pretty solid. But at the same time, stretched out to 9, challenge from East Avenue, and didn't seem to want any more distance than 8.5 furlong. What else we got left here? Yeah. So I showed this a number of times before. Really the bang for your buck commentary to take away from this. If you throw him into the pace setter category, in the last 11 derbies, 3 times the pace setter won, twice DQ'd, I might say, because I've got maximum security up here in Medina Spirit, obviously. Twice they've been Baffert horses as well, which I think also makes a big difference. Stalkers, if he was a stalker, maybe he gets thrown into that category. He is a little bit slower than a lot of the pace setters in this race, but he's going to want to get up there a little bit closer. But yeah, 4 times in the money out of 11 races, 3 times the winner. Stalkers, 14 times in those 11 races have finished in the money. So I would say that's probably more the range you would want your runner to be in. Final thoughts, starting at post 20 as a pace setter who faded at 9 furlongs at Keeneland. That's a tough look. It's a tough ask for the Derby. And based on the notes that the trainer had, I find it really hard to put Owen Almighty in any of my bets here, horizontals, verticals, diagonals, whatever you want to call them. That's what I got on Owen Almighty. Please let me know what you think about in the comments section. We've got plenty more of these Derby profiles. Love going through them. We just hope we have enough time to get through all 20. Getting close. Thank you for joining and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching and good luck at the Derby.